The King of Fighters, SNK's 30-year-long running arcade fighting game of all time, with its tournaments that dated back from King of Fighters 94 to its current tournament, the King of Fighters 15. With its character roster deep and varied and a whole lot of lore, King of Fighters has cemented itself as SNK's premier arcade fighting game of all time. In this week's video, we take a deep dive look into one character born in the streets of Chile that holds a very, very dark secret. This character that we're about to dissect is Isla. This is your boy Geek Ghost Gamer Top on the microphone. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on my socials that you'll see down below as we take a deep and dissective look into Isla. Isla, born in the streets of Chile, an orphan who knew only one expression, graffiti, that would express her world in a very colorful manner. A troubled kid, yet compassionate and complicated, Isla went through life drawing and being a graffiti artist, with nothing of hers being as ordinary as any other kid. But she would find herself facing a very, very complicated entity. When the news of King of Fighters 15 came about, fighters from all around the world knew that there was a tournament that was coming. From the events of King of Fighters 14 in the previous tournament, the entity that was created by Ash Crimson in King of Fighters 13 verse was destroyed, coming about all of the souls that had died in the previous King of Fighters tournaments and years gone past had seemingly come alive. Isla knew that this was her time and she had to come into the tournament. But troubled as she is, she didn't have a home and her parents were gone. Isla had to find a new home. In come Heidern. Heidern that we've seen in the previous King of Fighters tournament and being a part of the secret service that would discover and locate unusual stuff. Isla found herself under the care of Heidern. Isla knew that this was her shot. And then King of Fighters 15 was announced. Fighters from all around the world came into the invitation of King of Fighters 15. But one other person would come back. Enter Shun'Ei. Shun'Ei that we've seen in the last tournament of King of Fighters 14, battling Verse, were a part of a group of special people that wielded special powers. Those people called the Amplified Specters. People that wielded a special power unlike the Orochi and those of the Nests and K-Dash. The Amplified Spectre people had powers that required no physical combat with their hands or fists. Shun'Ei came back into King of Fighters 15 with every fighter called. Isla knew that this was her time, and one other person that would come seemingly with her adopted son that we've seen in King of Fighters 14, Kukri. This lady of African origin, a voodoo priestess by the name of Dolores, acting on the same manner that Chizuru Kagura was brought about in King of Fighters 96. Dolores knew that a dark and very powerful entity was on the rise, and these special group of people, called the Amplified Specters, would attend the King of Fighters 15 tournament. Isla knew that she was something special. This team would go on to win the King of Fighters 15 tournament. At the end of the tournament of the King of Fighters 15 game, we see at the end of the King of Fighters 15 tournament, we see the victorious team come out on top, finishing the tournament, defeating their final and last team. But something overcomes Isla. Her Amplified Specter powers are on the rise and on the spike, and seemingly feigning and trying to fight off this dark entity that is. Isla becomes a new entity. With her Amplified Specter powers overcoming her, she becomes an entity, a wild boss entity, a sub-boss called Reverse. Reverse, that is a play on words from the boss of the last tournament, Verse. Reverse becomes a very, very different character from Isla. From where Isla's compassion and very kind but complicated nature, Reverse is the opposite of Isla. With her attacks seemingly as the same as Isla, but a wild nature overcame Isla that gave her the name of Reverse. Isla and Reverse could not be that different, but their natures are very are. What would become of these two? Well, that being that they wield the Amplified Specters power, those of Shun'Ei and Verse in the previous tournament. At the end of where Reverse is defeated, she calls on a very dark entity. That entity that knows everything and all African secrets alike. But no one knows where that entity is born. Some say it is an image of Dolores. Some say they don't know what is of this entity. By the end of the tournament, Dolores is seemingly nowhere to be found. Isla is recovered and brought back to life thanks to Heidern and his special forces. The King of Fighters 15 tournament is done and dusted, but lo and behold, Isla knew of what was that she became, that dark and wild entity that was Reverse. Isla goes back home of no recollection of what she had transformed into, but the dark power of some of the Amplified Specter holders and wielders would never be solved. Could they be solved in the next King of Fighters tournament? Only time will tell. And that is the story of Isla. Guys, I hope you found this video package informative. Make sure you like, share, subscribe onto my channel, and follow me on my socials that you'll find down below, as we took a deep dive look into one of King of Fighters' troublesome teenagers, Isla. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys